Happy morning, children. Welcome back to the English class. Today, we are going to learn a new lesson in our English. And for this lesson, this is a warm-up session. And every warm-up session gives you an insight to understand the lesson clearly. Let's do it. Can you see what is going on there in this video clip? Yeah? The water from the sea is rushing towards the land and lashing out all the buildings and things and objects and trees and destroy it completely. Have you seen any picture like this? What is this called as? Can you guys tell me? Yeah, it is tsunami. Hope you might remember this tsunami happened in the year 2004, 26th December, the very next day to Christmas. And there was tsunami felt between Andaman Nicobar Island and Indonesia. What is tsunami? It's a large and powerful wave caused by the earthquakes under the sea. Usually the earthquakes happen on the land, okay, and it is measured using the seismograph. In seismic scale, if the earthquake level is more than 6 or 7, then it will cause a much more damage to the human beings or the earth. In the same way, if the earthquake happens or occur under the sea, then this is the resultant. If earthquake happen under the sea, then the sea water gushing towards the land, destroying everything. That is called as tsunami. One such thing happened in the year 2004 on Christmas, day after Christmas, which happened at the epicenter between Sumatra and Andaman Nicobar Island. And most of the coastal areas get affected by this tsunami. Even the coastal regions in Tamil Nadu also get affected. And in this lesson, we are going to see the aftermath of tsunami, which means how the families get affected once this event had happened. Okay, children? This is the lesson title, Tsunami, and it's in your English prose. In this lesson, we are going to learn how tsunami impacts the life of humans. If tsunami happens, what happened to human life? How they could survive? These are the things we are going to see in this lesson. And at the end of the lesson, we come to know the survival stories in tsunami. Some people died in tsunami, but some survived tsunami. So we can see both of the stories in this lesson. We'll move on to the lesson now. So you can see the map here. Can you guess which map it is? Yeah, it's a map of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Can you tell me where it is situated or where it is located? At the Bay of Bengal, right? You can see here in the Bay of Bengal, to the east of India as well as Sri Lanka, there are some small islands named Andaman and Nicobar Islands. What do you mean by island? Have you studied in your social studies? Yeah, the island is the land covered by sea. The land is completely covered by a sea. Okay, that is called as an island. And Andaman and Nicobar Island is one such thing. And what happened to this island when tsunami hits the island? That's what we are going to see in this lesson. And a tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by the earthquake under the sea. When it happened recently in the year 2004 on December 26, and this tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Tamil Nadu coast. And here are some stories of courage and survival. And did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? You know, there is an important or interesting fact that animal can sense this type of disaster. Very interesting, na? Yeah, cows and some other earth creatures can easily sense what is going to happen. If it is an earthquake there, if it is tsunami there, they can easily sense. And some stories suggest that they did. Okay, so these are the things we are going to see in this lesson. And stories from Andaman and Nicobar Island. Here are the stories from Andaman and Nicobar Archipelago. So what do you mean by archipelago? It's a new word. A group of many islands surrounded by sea. Here are the stories of people who get affected by this tsunami. There are 4 stories we are going to listen in this class. The story 1, it's about Ignatius. A person called Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. So Kachal is a place in Nicobar Island. You can see that in the map. And his wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. One particular day, on 26th morning, his wife woke him up from his sleep at 6 a.m. saying that there is something shaking or there is a feeling of earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off his table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. What happens when earthquake occur? The things may fall down. Okay. So what he thought, he has to safeguard all the things. Okay. And one such thing is his television, and he put it down on the ground so that the television should not break during the earthquake. Then the family rushed out of the house and immediately the family rushed out of the house. When earthquake happens, people has to move immediately from the house to the a playground. That is a safer place. That is the only thing we can do in earthquake times. In the same way, Ignatius safeguard his things, television, and he moved his family to the outside of the house. So these are the resultant of the earthquake or aftermath of the earthquake. After earthquake occurs, the houses may get damaged like this, and the roads may get affected like this. You can see the picture here. And the new words we can learn in this slide is archipelago, which means group of many islands surrounded by sea. And what is earthquake? It is a violent shaking of ground. So we'll move on to the next thing. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. When earthquake stopped, tremors is again the new word. What is the meaning of tremors? You can see in that picture a shaking, violent shaking. So here you can see the boy is hiding under a table where the things are completely shaken. Okay. So after it has stopped, they saw the sea rising. So they may be lived in Kachal. It could be an island. Hence, after the earthquake has stopped, after the shaking has stopped, the sea water is rising. This person, Ignatius, noticed it, and in the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. When this happened, the children may not know what is going to happen. They got panic or they got fear, and they hold the hands of their grandfather and their uncle and rushed in the opposite direction. And once the sea water comes in, it swept away this person, and his wife was also swept away. Swept away means pulled out by the waters of the sea. And only 3 other children who came with him were survived. So only 3 people with Ignatius were saved. So swept away means like this. The sea water can pull out the complete person into the sea. And here are the new words: tremors, a slight shake. Number 2, chaos, a complete disorder, a complete unstable situation. Swept away, disappeared in sea. So swept away means the sea water pull the person and makes that person disappear in the sea. Okay. And second story is all about Sanjeev. Sanjeev is the other person. Let's see how he survived in the tsunami. And he was a policeman serving in Kachal Island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter from the waves. When the tsunami hit, Sanjeev somehow managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev saved himself and his family also. But suddenly he heard a voice. He heard a cry out help from the wife of the other person. So on hearing this, what Sanjeev did, he wanted to help that particular person who is in need of help, who wants their life to be saved. Hence, Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. On helping other, Sanjeev and also the wife of John were completely swept away by the sea water. So here in this picture you can see a person is saving a woman who is drowning in the sea. With a life jacket, he can rescue that particular person. Rescue means save the person from drowning. Okay? And the new word here is rescue, which means save. And here is the story of a girl called Meghna. What happens to her and how tsunami affect her life, we'll see that. She is a 13-year-old girl, was completely swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. Meghna is completely swept away and her parents also along with 77 other people, maybe her nearby friends or nearby families. And what happened now? She spent 2 days floating in the sea holding on to a wooden door. Even the sea water swept this girl, but she got into a wooden door and she was floating on the sea with this wooden door. You can see the picture here. A person with a wooden shelf or wooden cupboard is there in the water. Like this girl is floating on the sea with the help of the wooden door. And she saw the relief helicopters overhead 11 times, but they did not see her. What a pathetic situation. She saw the relief helicopter. What is her relief helicopter? So here you can see this picture. The relief helicopter is one which will provide help to the people during the flood times. Sometimes you can hear that the food packets from helicopters will be given to the people, or else the persons can be saved through the helicopter, especially during the time of flood. And this Meghna saw these relief helicopters 11 times, but the person in the helicopter couldn't able to see her. But then luckily she was brought to the shore by a wave. Luckily she is alive. Why? Because a wave completely brought her to the seashore. And after that time she walked on the seashore in a daze. Daze means an unstable situation. Maybe she may go to faint, okay, a dizziness, okay. So in such a situation she walked on the seashore. So imagine, children, what happened to you guys if you float on the sea on the wooden door without any help? How you feel? Obviously a frightened situation, but with the courage she survived this instant. And like this she was brought to the shore by a wave. And the new words we can learn in this lesson is, or in this slide is, relief helicopters, which means helicopters bringing help to people during floods. And second thing is overhead, which means above the head. And the third meaning days, which means not stable or confused. Okay, these are the new words we can learn in this slide. And here comes the story of other girl, Almaz Javed. And this girl was 10 years old when it happened, and she was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair. Port Blair is the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Hope you know that. And in Port Blair, her father had a petrol pump, and her mother Rahila, her home was in Nankouri Island. This is one such island in Nicobar Island. And the family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. This family, even though they are Muslims, everyone wants to enjoy their holidays, right? So that family went there to celebrate Christmas. Yeah, you can see the picture of Christmas. A Santa Claus will be there, and many gifts will be provided by him. Christmas stars will be on the houses with the light lit up on it, and Christmas tree will be decorated. And on a wintry morning, the Santa Claus visit each house with the gift. This is what happens in the time of Christmas. And when the drummers came early in the morning, the family was sleeping. When tsunami happened, this family was sleeping as usual without knowing it happened. And Alma's father saw the seawater recede. And Alma's father saw an unusual thing, which means the seawater recede. Recede means it moved back from where it comes. Okay, that's what the meaning of recede. You can see that in the picture. The wave is at the back, but in the front you can see the seawater is going back. Okay, that is receding seawater. And he understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. If that happens, then it's sure that the seawater would come forward with a great force. And he woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. And he sensed that something is going to happen. So he woke up all other family members and asked them to move to a safer place. The new word in this slide is recede, which means move back from where it was. And as they ran, her grandfather was hit on her head by something and he fell down. So when they moved to a place, safer place, her grandfather was hit by something on her head and fell down. So Alma's father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. When the family is moving to a safer place, Alma's grandfather was hit by something on his head and he fell down. And to help this person, to help his father, our father-in-law, Alma's father rushed, and at that time a big wave swept both of them away. And Alma's mother and aunt stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree. And Alma's mother and aunts were holding to the branches of a coconut tree. calling out to her like this. Okay. And a wave uprooted the tree, and they too were washed away. And suddenly a second wave swept this tree by uprooting it. Uproot means from the root the tree will fall down. Okay. So you can see here the sea water uproot the tree, which means the tree will be completely taken out from the ground. So you can see the root also. That's what uprooting. And they too washed away. Who? Alma's mother and her aunt. But Alma saw a log of wood floating. But this Tanya girl saw a wood floating, and she climbed on it. And this wise girl climbed on the log of wood. Then she fainted. She just climbed onto the wooden board, and she completely fainted. Fainted means like an unconscious state. And when she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kamorta. Kamorta is a town in Ireland, and she woke up in a hospital. And from there, she was brought to Port Blair. From that hospital, she was brought to Port Blair, and the girl doesn't want to talk about the incident with anyone. Why? Because she is still traumatized. And after she has been saved from the tsunami, she was in the hospital, and she didn't want to talk with anyone about this incident. This is a very bad incident, right? We usually do this. We don't want to talk about the bad incidents that happen in our life. Okay? In the same way, she don't want to talk with anyone about this, and she is still traumatized. Traumatized means she is still in the shock of that particular incident. And the new words we can learn from this slide is cling, hold on, uproot, pull out of the ground, fainted, collapse, traumatized, shock as a result of disturbing experience. Traumatized means it's a shock after a disturbing experience. And we can see the recap here. So how many stories we have seen till now? 4 stories. It's a story of Ignatius, and he is a manager, worked in a cooperative society in Coachella Island, and his wife woke him up at 6 a.m. on the morning of tsunami, and he saved his television, and he saved the whole family. Like with 3 children, he saved his life. And second is the story of Sanjeev. He was a policeman. He saved his wife and his baby daughter, but suddenly he heard a voice of a woman, and so he went to save that person. On saving the person, both of them were completely swept away by the sea. And third story is about a 13-year-old girl, Meghna, and when this happened, her parents and 77 people were completely swept away in the sea, but then she was survived by floating on the sea 2 days, and she missed the relief helicopters 11 times, But luckily, a wave brought her to the seashore. From there, she was saved by the volunteers. And fourth story, it's story of Almaz. She is a student. She is 10 years old. And when this happens, her father, her grandfather, her mother, her aunt were completely swept away. But then she climbed onto the wood and completely fainted. And when she woke up, she was in the hospital and she was in complete shock. And she doesn't want to reveal anything to anyone what happened, and completely in the state of shock. See how the tsunami affected the life of people and life of 4 different families here. So we should be grateful to God for each and everything good thing happens in our life. Okay, children? Feel thankful on every morning when you woke up. That's a good attitude. Will you do that? Hope you will. Okay, children? And here is the assessment. A very simple questions so that how far you understood this lesson. First question, how many stories are there in this part of lesson? And second question, who is Ignatius and where did he work? Third question, what happened to Sanjeev at last? Fourth question, how did Meghna survive? Fifth question, where did Almaz woke up after she fainted? These are the 5 different questions and 5 simple questions you have to answer in your English notebook. Okay, children? And here comes the homework. So you have to say the following statements are true or false. First statement, Ignatius lost his wife, 2 children, his father-in-law and his brother-in-law in the tsunami. Just say true or false. Second statement, Sanjeev made it to safety after the tsunami. Third statement, Meghna was saved by a relief helicopter. Fourth question, Alma's father realized that a tsunami was going to hit the island. Fifth question, her mother and aunts were washed away with the tree and that they were holding on to. So this is your homework. Hope you understood this lesson. Hope you understood what is tsunami. It's a powerful wave which happened when earthquake hits under the sea. One such thing happened on the year 2004, the very next day to Christmas, that is 26th December. And it happened at the epicenter between Andaman and Indonesia. So the coastal parts, the islands in the Indian Ocean has been completely affected. And some stories of tsunami affected regions are discussed in this lesson. 4 stories we have seen. Story of Ignatius and story of Sanjeev and story of 13-year-old girl Meghna, and fourth story, it's about the 10-year girl Almaz. We'll see the rest of the lesson in the upcoming classes. Hope you understood. We'll see in the next class. Until then, take care, children. Bye bye.